Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. When we think of innovation, we often picture modern labs, lines of code, and complex machines. But what if I told you the blueprint for all human innovation wasn't written on a circuit board, but was chipped into stone millions of years ago? We often take our ability to plan for granted, planning dinner, planning a vacation, planning a career. But this skill, the ability to see beyond the immediate moment and prepare for a future need, is the engine of progress. Today, we're digging into the archaeology of innovation, a journey into the minds of our ancient ancestors to understand how they first learned to plan, shaping their world, and in doing so, shaping the very essence of what it means to be human. The story of human innovation begins with a deceptively simple yet world-changing act: the deliberate fracturing of one stone by another to create a sharp edge. The earliest of these tools, known as the Oldowan industry, date back a staggering 2.6 million years. At first glance, they might seem crude, little more than chipped pebbles. However, their creation marks a monumental leap in cognitive evolution. It required an understanding of cause and effect, that striking this rock with that rock in this way produces a sharp edge. It required the ability to select the right raw materials, to know that some stones fracture predictably, while others just crumble. More than that, the very act of creating and keeping a tool implies a level of forward planning. It is a recognition that this object, this piece of sharpened rock, will be useful for a future task, like butchering a carcass. This is a concept that extends beyond the immediate gratification of a need. But the evidence for planning gets even more profound. At a 2.6 million-year-old site in Kenya, archaeologists have revealed that early human relatives were not just picking up random rocks. They were moving diverse types of stones over substantial distances, some up to 13 kilometers away from their source. This suggests our ancestors possessed a mental map of their environment, an understanding of where to find the best materials, and the foresight to carry those materials to a location where they anticipated needing them. This is not the behavior of a creature living solely in the present. It is the hallmark of a mind beginning to project itself into the future. Around 1.7 million years ago, a new and much more sophisticated form of stone tool emerged: the Acheulean hand axe. These tools, often teardrop-shaped and meticulously worked on both sides, represent a significant cognitive advance. The most striking feature of many Acheulean hand axes is their remarkable symmetry. This symmetry often goes far beyond what is strictly necessary for the tool's function, suggesting a developing aesthetic sense and a much more complex level of planning. The creation of a symmetrical hand axe requires a mental template, an abstract concept of the desired final form. The toolmaker had to envision this perfect shape, locked inside the raw block of stone, and then execute a long series of precise strikes to achieve it. This process, known by archaeologists as the chain operatoire or operational sequence, reveals a complex interplay between cognition and action. The toolmaker had to plan several steps ahead, constantly rotating the core, preparing striking platforms, and removing flakes in a controlled, predetermined manner. This ability to hold a detailed mental image and manipulate it to guide a sequence of actions is a cornerstone of modern human cognition, essential for everything from engineering to art. The Middle Paleolithic, beginning around 300,000 years ago, witnessed another revolutionary innovation: the levallois technique. If the Acheulean hand axe was about shaping a core into a tool, the levallois technique was about shaping a core to produce a tool. This method is a paradigm of forward planning. The knapper would carefully prepare a stone core, meticulously shaping it to create a convex tortoiseshell surface. The entire process was in preparation for a single moment. Then, with one final, well-aimed strike at a prepared platform, they could detach a large, sharp flake of a predetermined size and shape, a finished, perfect tool ready to use. The final product is not revealed until the very last step, yet its form is dictated by the entire preceding sequence of actions. This requires a high degree of foresight and an intimate understanding of the properties of stone. This innovation had significant practical advantages. It allowed for the production of standardized tools, which could be used for a variety of tasks, from butchering animals to working wood. The efficiency also meant that a single core could produce multiple flakes, making it an economical use of precious raw materials. This would have been particularly important for mobile hunter-gatherer groups who needed to carry their toolkits with them. For a long time, the creators of these sophisticated tools, particularly the Neanderthals, were portrayed as brutish and unintelligent. However, a wealth of archaeological evidence has shattered this outdated stereotype. Neanderthals were masters of the levallois technique and produced a wide range of specialized tools, collectively known as the Mousterian industry. Their hunting strategies also point to a high level of planning and cooperation. At sites like Abric Romani in Spain, evidence suggests that Neanderthals selectively hunted prime adult deer and horses, a strategy that would have required a deep understanding of animal behavior and the ability to coordinate as a group to take down the strongest prey. The discovery of wooden spears from Schoningen, Germany, dated to around 200,000 years ago, further attests to their sophisticated capabilities. These were not simply sharpened sticks, but carefully crafted weapons with a balanced design, suggesting a detailed understanding of weight, form, and even aerodynamics. The use of resources by Neanderthals also shows evidence of forethought. At Quesem Cave in Israel, archaeologists found evidence that bones were stored for up to 9 weeks before the marrow was extracted and consumed. This planned delay in consumption suggests a sophisticated understanding of resource management. Furthermore, their frequent use of non-local, high-quality flint indicates they planned trips specifically to procure the best raw materials for their advanced tools. The Upper Paleolithic, which began around 50,000 years ago, is marked by a proliferation of symbolic behavior. This creative explosion saw the emergence of breathtaking cave art, personal ornaments, and complex burial rituals. Symbolic thought is, by its very nature, an act of forward planning. It is the ability to create and understand a representation that stands for something else, a concept that exists outside of the here and now. The creation of cave paintings, for example, was a long-term project. Our ancestors had to procure pigments like ochre and manganese, manufacture brushes from animal hair or plant fibers, and in many cases, venture deep into dark and dangerous caves with only animal fat lamps to light their way. The art itself often depicts animals, sometimes in scenes that have been interpreted as hunting magic or shamanic rituals. These interpretations suggest a desire to influence future events, a clear demonstration of planning for a successful hunt, or a connection with a spiritual world. Personal ornaments, such as beads and pendants made from shells, teeth, and ivory, also point to a developing sense of self and social identity. The creation of these objects and their trade over long distances suggests a planned and structured social world, where relationships and status were maintained through symbolic goods. The burial of the dead with grave goods implies a belief in an afterlife, a concept that requires a profound level of abstract thought and planning for a future existence. This symbolic revolution is a testament to the emergence of a truly modern human mind, a mind capable of planning for both the physical and the metaphysical future. The advent of agriculture, beginning around 12,000 years ago, marks another watershed moment. The transition from a nomadic hunter-gatherer lifestyle to a settled agricultural one was not a sudden event, but a long process of experimentation and meticulous planning. Early farmers had to observe and understand the life cycles of plants, select for desirable traits like larger seeds, and develop techniques for cultivation, harvesting, and processing. One of the most crucial innovations of this Neolithic period was the development of food storage systems. Agriculture produced a surplus that could be stored for future use, protecting against famine. Archaeological evidence from the Jordan Valley, dating back 11,000 years, has revealed the remains of sophisticated granaries with suspended floors for ventilation, designed to protect stored grains from moisture and pests. Incredibly, these structures predate the full domestication of plants by at least 1,000 years, suggesting that our ancestors were planning for food security long before they had perfected agriculture. The domestication of animals was another key innovation, requiring deep understanding and long-term planning. Early herders had to manage their flocks, control breeding over generations, and provide for their animals' needs throughout the year. The shift to a sedentary lifestyle also led to new forms of planning in the layout of settlements. Neolithic villages were not just random collections of houses, but often displayed a planned organization with distinct areas for living, working, and ritual activities. Perhaps the most awe-inspiring evidence of prehistoric forward planning comes in the form of monumental architecture. Sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey and Stonehenge in England are testaments to the incredible ingenuity and organizational skills of our ancient ancestors. Göbekli Tepe, dating back an astonishing 11,500 years, is the oldest known temple in the world. Built by hunter-gatherers before the invention of pottery or agriculture, it consists of massive T-shaped pillars, some weighing up to 50 tons, arranged in a series of circular enclosures. The construction of Göbekli Tepe would have required a huge amount of planning and coordination. The builders had to quarry the massive stones, transport them to the site, and erect them with only the simplest of tools. Recent research has shown that the layout of the enclosures was not random, but followed a geometric plan, suggesting a single, unified design held in the minds of its architects. Then there is Stonehenge, built between 5,000 and 4,000 years ago. The massive sarsen stones and smaller blue stones were transported over vast distances, the latter from as far away as Wales, over 250 kilometers. The construction would have required a large and organized workforce, with specialized skills in quarrying, transportation, and construction. The precise alignment of the stones with the solstices suggests a sophisticated understanding of astronomy and a desire to mark the passage of time, a key aspect of long-term planning for agricultural cycles and rituals. The construction of these monuments was a multi-generational effort, requiring a level of social organization and shared purpose that is truly remarkable. They are the ultimate expression of prehistoric forward planning, a powerful statement of a society's ability to envision a future and work together to make it a reality. From the first chipped stone to the construction of monumental temples, the archaeology of innovation reveals a mind that was constantly looking forward, planning for the future, and shaping the world to its will. This journey is a testament to the incredible resilience and ingenuity of our ancient ancestors. And in understanding their forward planning, we gain a better understanding of ourselves. For the ability to look to the future, to plan, to create, is not just a hallmark of modern civilization. It is a fundamental part of what it means to be human.